USD 313, and I'm your 2020 KSSA president. And I welcome you to this great day of the Kansas Superintendent of the Year program. And it's a very exciting day. We'll be looking at the finalists, but we'll also be honoring the 2020 Distinguished Service Award later today. So at this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Gibson up. He's going to introduce the entertainment and the guests we have while we're having lunch. So, Dr. Gibson.
Good afternoon. I'm honored and humbled, particularly by this group up here. You're all okay, but this group here is pretty fantastic. So today we're really honored to have a group of jazz band from Bison High School, directed by Jan Verboom. They'll begin, and then towards the end, looks like you're almost finished. We'll have some other folks come up and entertain you for a little bit, and I'll acknowledge them at the end. So thanks for being here, particularly you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
going to slow things, well, actually change things up a bit. Many of you guys know who Billy Joel is. All right, well, this is New York State of Mind. We hope you enjoy it. Well, thank you very much for having us out. We appreciate Dr. Gibson. He has given us a total great support with our band program at Valley Center. So we appreciate him and an invite we had to play in honor of him. All right, we'd like to end our set with a Maynard Ferguson tune. Actually, it's a Herbie Hancock tune, made famous by Maynard Ferguson. This is Chameleon.
those results today, it was just over moon. So, Big Up and Tyner and Michael Corn, who's not here, have combined another opportunity for us to showcase here in Valley Center. This time, a combination of vocal and drama. So, thank you very much.
Where did she go? But where? But what if, on the eve of my 18th birthday, I'll host a ball just like he wanted. I'll invite countless eligible young women from far and wide to sing for me. That's how I'll do it. That's how I'll find my voice. I'll be married on that very sunset, just as my father decreed. She's out there somewhere. I just know it.
Daddy's never met a human, yet he still thinks the worst of them. I just don't see how a world that makes such wonderful things
good afternoon. On behalf of Valley Center High School and the Valley Center Performing Arts Department, we just wanted to extend our heartfelt congratulations, Dr. Gibson, on your award. You heard our amazing jazz band as part of our band program under Jan Verboom and also our band instructor, Amanda Jolly. They're an incredible group. Then followed by several selections from our fall musical, The Little Mermaid. Gabe Sharbet playing Eric, Chelsea John playing Ariel, and then another selection of one of our music theater students, Colton Brillhart, singing from Shrek the Musical. One of the things that's important in the department is to challenge our students and to help them understand the power of story. But not just the power of story, but the power of their story, of each individual student's story, and how when we combine those things, we can do great things. And I think part of the power of Dr. Gibson's story is he has played so many different roles. He's played a janitor, a para, a teacher, an administrator, and of course a superintendent. And that gives him the unique perspective to be able to see how all of these different roles can combine to create something truly wonderful. So for this last selection, I've asked one of my beginning theater students. In my intro to drama classes, one of the assignments that we do is to help them understand the power of their individual story. And for those of you who like public radio or listen to different things on the, you might have heard of the Moth Radio Hour. This is true stories told live. So they're not memorized, but they are rehearsed. The most important part is that they're true. So this student presented her story last semester, and we were all taken aback. It was beautifully done, beautifully told, and I think it highlights how when the right people are in the right places, we can do something truly wonderful. Dr. Gibson, you always announce yourself as the proud superintendent of USD 262. Well, today we can say that we are proud of you, our superintendent of USD 262. So this is Isabel House with her Story Slam 1 in 5.
In 4th grade, my teacher told me that I was not dyslexic and I was simply making it up for attention. That same day, you could hear my mom stomping to the principal's office demanding I was changed to a different classroom. In 3rd grade, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. I always knew that something was a bit different, and it didn't come to a shock to me once I heard the symptoms. I couldn't read words correctly, everything was jumbled up, and I could never picture the words that I was trying to imagine. That wasn't until I read one book series, the Geronimo Stilton book series. It was full of color and action and adventure, but it still had the novelistic traits of a normal book, and that's why I understood it. It got me into my first few passions, art and storytelling. And in 6th grade, you can imagine my excitement when I can combine both of those in a narrative assignment given to me by my teacher. It was Halloween time, and we had to write a horror narrative and design a cover for it, and I slaved over both of those things. I slaved over the writing, the cover. I stayed up for nights on end just to finish them. But it still wasn't good enough. And my classmates simply pushed it aside with a, "Oh, that's good, Isabel." Because what could a girl with dyslexia ever write about? In 7th grade, I was given a second chance, but my teacher simply told me that it was sloppy and messy and the wording wasn't correct. But in 8th grade we had another one, and this one toppled amongst the other ones because this one was a competition. It was a competition that the whole 8th grade was entered into, and I finally decided that this was my chance to show them that I could be more than a statistic on a billboard. I could be a writer. And I was one of the semi-finalists that was chosen. When we filed into the library, panic and tears and just worry overwhelmed me, and I couldn't get my head out of the space of just me failing. I only saw 2 people that I knew from that crowd. My mom and my friend Kiera. And I just burst out into tears in front of everyone. And my friend Kiera is the sweetest, most understanding girl in the world, and she held me in her arms and said, "Isabel, even if you don't win this, you still wrote one of the most amazing stories I've ever read from an 8th grader." And so I said to her, "Thank you so much. That means a lot. but I'm still gonna eat my feelings by the cookie table while they announce the finalist. And so, I always found it amazing that 1 in 5 kids I diagnosed with dyslexia. But on that day, I was one of the five kids that won.
Dr. Gibson, I can see why you say you're the proud superintendent of Valley Center. Thank you for letting us experience some of the sampling of the talent from Valley Center, and thank you all. Let's give them one more round of applause. Are they exiting now, Corey? Yeah. Okay. We'll give them a second to do that. As they're exiting, I would like to welcome some of our guests that are here today. We have 5 state board members that are with us today. And if they would stand when I call their name, we'd like to recognize them. Ben Jones, Jim McNeese, Kathy Bush, Kathy's here, Jen Clifford, and Steve Roberts. It's also great to have our commissioner here with us today as we help celebrate. We'll be hearing from him a little bit later. We share with our principals and superintendents the importance of celebrating our staff and students, but often as superintendents, we forget to include ourselves as part of those celebrations. Today is not only about honoring our colleagues, but also celebrating as an organization the work we do as district leaders. I always believe that the office of superintendent, that it can be a very lonely position because no one else in the organization in the district shares the responsibility or knows what it's like to sit in the superintendent's chair. In most districts, there's numerous or more than one principal, and they can share the responsibilities and think about what goes on as a principal and, of course, teachers. But as a superintendent, we carry that stress of looking after the entire district, and it's a stress that we really can't shut off most days. So it's really important today, and that's why we come together today to join together and honor our 2020 Superintendent of the Year finalists and our 2020 Distinguished Service Award recipient. As many of you know in this room, the Superintendent of the Year process is extremely rigorous. It's exciting when you find out that you've been nominated, and then the work begins. You have a very rigorous application which requires them to reflect on their accomplishments, share the written story in 4 lengthy essays, create a video about themselves, all while still doing their job as a district superintendent. And don't get me wrong, we believe this process provides an opportunity to reflect on their personal and professional careers, but it's still a lot of extra work. So once the applications are submitted to the KSSA Awards and Recognition Committee, members review and score each application. The committee then must reach a difficult consensus on the final candidates. This year, we had 10 of the 13 nominees complete the application process, which the committee narrowed down to 3. 2 weeks later, the finalists met with a committee of 5 former Kansas Superintendents of the Year who take our finalists through a series of questions requiring finalists to step out of their comfort zone and share the great work they're doing in their district and across the state. It's this committee who is tasked with making the very difficult decision of the KSSA Superintendent of the Year. I would like to thank our final interview committee and former Kansas Superintendents of the Year who participated this past year. Please stand as I call your name. Glenn Supis, 2019. John Allison, 2018. Sue Gibbons, 2017. Cindy Lane, 2016. Randy Watson, 2015. And KSSA past president, Justin Henry. Let's give these applause. Now, it's impossible to do our jobs alone, and in order to provide a quality award ceremony, which our members deserve, takes time and resources. KSSA has been very fortunate to partner with Ken Ogden and the Ogden Financial Group to cover many of the expenses for this program. In addition to OFC, the Security Benefit Company is a strong educational partner in Kansas. They'll be providing one of the finalists a scholarship. At this time, I would like to introduce and bring to the stage representatives from OFG, Todd Payne and Barb Berry, and from the Security Benefit Company, Steve Strobel. If you please come forward.
Well, I'm Todd Payne from OFG Financial Services. This is Barb Berry. She's also with OFG. Our president of our company, Ken Ogden, is unfortunately traveling for work this week, but he sends his regards. The OFG, Ken and the OFG family would like to express our appreciation to everyone in this room on your commitment and your service to your communities, to education, to the kids and families in your communities. And we've always tried to show our thanks at least a little bit in part by helping to support events like this, to support the Superintendent of the Year program and the award in general. And so, but one other thing we'd like to do each year is to provide contributions to the school districts represented by the winner of the award and also of the finalists. So we'd like to give a $1,000 scholarship to Dr. Gibson School District, as well as a $500 scholarship each to the districts of the finals. And we'll continue to do this out into the future. So congratulations, Dr. Gibson, Dr. Kidlinger, and Dr. Higgins for being the finalists for this year's award and for the recognition you're receiving today. Thank you.
Let's just give one more round of applause to these companies because we could not do these award ceremonies without their contribution. Our first recognition today is going to be Dr. Chad Higgins. Dr. Higgins could not be with us today, so I'm going to go ahead and read his bio and we'll acknowledge him even though he could not be here. Dr. Chad Higgins is the Superintendent of Schools of Mays USD 266 since July of 2015. Prior to his position at USD 266, Chad started his career as superintendent in Mound Ridge in 2009. Mays is one of the fastest growing school districts in the state of Kansas with an enrollment of over 7,500 students. In 2016, only a year into his tenure, at Mays, Dr. Higgins began work on developing a long-term solution to manage the growth of the schools, while also attempting to create similar student demographic populations. A committee of staff members, students, parents, patrons, and board members collected and evaluated data, debated solutions, and eventually developed a program and a policy proposal. Besides working to close socioeconomic status and special population gaps between our secondary schools, the committee navigated challenges with geography, politics, projected growth, and current school capacities. The culture of the One Mays community has significantly improved the connections among the community, and it is indicated by the district's recent bond issue election, resulting in a past bond election with an overwhelming 85.5% support on Proposition 1 and a 77.3% support on Proposition 2. Ladies and gentlemen, let's acknowledge Dr. Chad Higgins. Our next finalist is Dr. Shelley Kiplinger. And I appreciate Shelley. As the new superintendent, she was in the neighboring district where I started, and she gave me lots of advice and helped out as a beginning superintendent, so I appreciated her leadership and support that she gave me. Dr. Kiplinger has served as the superintendent of schools at Cherryville Public Schools USD 447 since July of 2017. Cherryville is a rural district located in southeast Kansas with 760 students. The district has a pre-K to 6 building, a 7-12 grade high school, and a K-8 building in the community of Thayer. Prior to returning to the corner of the state where she grew up, Dr. Kiplinger served as superintendent of Hutchinson from 2011 to 2017 and assistant superintendent in Garden City. Well, when Dr. Kiplinger arrived, she and her staff immediately began working on growing the curriculum and implementing a research-based MTSS program. Cherryville also implemented an after-school program, and in 2018-19, she successfully completed the steps necessary for the district to join the Literacy Network of Kansas grant. Dr. Kiplinger has able to use the grant to provide hundreds of hours of professional development in the reading pedagogy for her teachers. In the fall of 2018, only 51% of the students were reading at grade level, according to the Ames Web, with socioeconomic status being a clear predictor of reading below grade level. Following a year of intervention, in spring of 2019, 76% of the students were on grade level, which closed the achievement gap between the low SES students and their full pay peers by about half. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Shelley Kiplinger.
Yeah, it's like now I fall off the stage.
Another long time but somewhat silent partner for the Superintendent of the Year program is the Kansas Jostens team. We appreciate Chris Curtis joining us today to present our honoree with his Superintendent of the Year ring. Let's give a round of applause for the Jostens team.
Thank you for having us. I think everybody knows the Jostens guys. After decades and decades of doing this, it's always cool with these things to not just see customers, but to see friends in the room. This is Jeff Lane out of Lawrence, and Jeff's around 30 years, somewhere in there. Brady Air out of Wichita, 20 plus. I'm out of Pittsburgh, 20 plus. Greg Ice out of Western Kansas and Hayes, and then all of our yearbook accomplices. So we appreciate everything you do. We appreciate everything you do for us, and we appreciate you allowing us to do things for you and your students and your families. This is pretty cool for me. Now, Dr. Gibson is actually one of Brady's superintendents, but I don't know if he remembers or not, but I believe I was on the school board at USD 250 when we gave Corey his first administration job, principal at Lakeside Elementary School in Pittsburgh, Kansas. I'd like to think I was the perfect board member in that I was of the philosophy that the superintendent's the highest paid employee of the school district, and he probably knows what's better for our customers and our kids than the ring guy does. So at every vote, I would typically look down the table at Gary Price and mouth the words to him, "Am I in favor of this?" And Gary would either nod, "Yes, you are," or "No, you're not," and I would vote appropriately. But New Corey was going to be a big success in that, I don't know if you knew Dr. Gibson in his younger days, but Dr. Gibson used to wear a crew cut, okay? And it was a modified crew, and being a former Marine, I'd like to think I'm an expert on crew cuts and flat tops and that kind of thing. And I probably never heard a word that Corey said the whole time I was on the board, because I just kept marveling at the tremendous amount of consistency and detail that he pulled off with that crew cut on every day. And being a former football coach and knowing that attention to detail is the secret to success, I knew we were going to hold on to Corey very long in Pittsburgh and that there were great things going to happen for him. So it's with great pride and pleasure that we're here today to present him with his Superintendent of the Year ring. And, you know, Johnson's 125 plus years old as a company, been around for a long time. We're constantly trying to innovate. We certainly hope that you see us as partners, because if you see us as a vendor, honestly, we've failed. And we need to visit about that. So if we can ever be of assistance to anybody in the room, that's what we're here for. So at this time, if it's okay with GA, we're ring guys, we put rings on people. Okay, we'd like to have Dr. Gibson come up to get his ring.
Okay, at this time, it's my great honor to introduce the 2020 Kansas Superintendent of the Year. When I was a high school principal, you know, we keep an eye on when people are moving jobs and different things, and I always kept hearing about this young upcomer in Pittsburgh, and he was really doing some great things. And as I worked with Gene Haydock, it's a similar story that you shared today. When Corey was hired at Halstead, Gene said, "Oh, we've got a great superintendent. The only bad thing is we're not going to probably be able to keep him very long because he's going to be doing some bigger and better things." And so we're just glad to have him here at Halstead, but he's going to be moving on. So this is really an honor for me to be able to share today. Dr. Corey Gibson is the superintendent, proud superintendent of the Valley Center School District. He has served as superintendent since July of 2012. Valley Center USD 262 serves more than 3,000 students from the communities of Valley Center, Park City, Keachai, and Wichita. The district is located to the north of the greater Wichita area In the last 8 years, the Valley Center Schools has exceeded the growth experienced in the previous 20 years. 6 years ago, the Valley Center Administrative Cabinet and Board of Education agreed the district needed to improve the supervision and evaluation process. The first steps was to provide ongoing professional development, opportunities to define expectations of performance based on research. As a result, they changed every evaluation instrument in the entire district. The Valley Center instruments are now aligned to current goals and incorporate performance data and evidence to the evaluation. Calibration of the instruments are ongoing as all members of the administrative team partner up and complete observations together. Dr. Gibson also paired up with building leaders regularly to keep his own observation skills fresh and to help the calibration efforts. Each year, he makes it his goal to visit 200 classrooms in the district, at least 3 times, and one of those times being for formal and extended evaluation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce your 2020 Kansas Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Corey Gibson.
Put that on them, please.
I had a feeling when I got up here today that I would be at a loss of words. It's one of the few times I really scripted what I planned to say today. But before I begin, I sincerely appreciate each of you being here. It's through the interconnectedness and interwoven connectedness between superintendents that makes our great state much better educationally than most across the nation. In the event that some of you are sitting in the back saying something negative about me, please know that there were 3 cameras recording this in a live stream. So I'll catch the review later to say, hey, what are they really talking about, Gibson? But before we begin, formally, I'd like to introduce some special guests to me that are here today. So Sarah Osterman, you can stand, representing the Board of Education, one of the best boards in the state. My right-hand man, Dr. Mike Bonner, Assistant Superintendent, Valley Center Schools. My parents, Joe and Linda Lycum. Why would my parents listen to, hey, stand up? Jayton and Ashton, our kids. Hey, tomorrow is your birthday, Jayton. And Ashton, yours is next week. Would you like this fine group to sing happy birthday to you? I thought that'd be TikTok famous. And the best supporter I have in my life, my wife, Jill. Thank you. There's a few people who are a little nervous in the room, right, Hein? Watch out for the first words of the formal speech. Hein, Posey, Tompkins, Schuler, Neuenswander, Price, Neuenswander, Wimmer, Lehman, Devin, Kippinger, Benson, Brooks, Slava, Collins, Daniels, Morton, Dietrich, Lentz, Hein, Winter, Trigg, Mathis, Berry, Dahl, Watson, Lane, Gibbons, Allison, Subas, Gibson. That just doesn't fit quite right with that group. I've been so privileged over the years. When I sit and look at the list of 30 former superintendents of the year, 21 of them I've sat at the table with them, had conversations, and learned from them. And once again, any opportunity we get to have conversations like this makes us all better and our state better. You know, we do a lot of things in Kansas right, but there is one thing I really think us as superintendents could work on. And so each year I take the privilege of kind of thumbing through the superintendent picture directory and just taking a look of who the new superintendents are, put a name to the face. But I just find it to be a little unique of the fact that we really don't take very good pictures. Look at that. Bands suddenly blowing the things back. The portrait flow that was popular in the 1980s. You ever wonder about this on Superintendent Listserv, which Brian's talking to you? And if you look carefully, if you look at their facial features, I think it's the same person. That's a new thing for double dipping. And then our colleagues to the west, there really is two of you. I don't know how you do it. Double the board, double the planning, double the staff, et cetera, et cetera. Why would you send a pixelated photo to KSD? Most of it, some of you actually look better pixelated, so it's best to continue to do that. Who was in Santa Fe before this? That tells me why it's nice fish might not be back there. Tilt your chin just a bit, not that much, a little less, a little bit more. Oh, heck with it, just smile. Click. Do I need to read it, Dave, or we okay? No. I didn't need to send black and whites in, but that's an option as well. Recognize the name on the face. You know what I'm talking about, if you move over. You all over yet? No, not crying. For those of you that are new to the profession, that's what 10 years does to you as superintendent. That's it. Here's the gets. During my first semester at Pitt State, one of my professors pulled me into his office and said he needed to share something. Now, to be honest, I thought it was going to be a similar story to what Hein received as he was finishing his degree. You know, that background check we ran on you, well, unless there's an act of God, you're never going to work in education. But in reality, the professor shared something that I and another student, currently in the student teaching program, were both nominated by the faculty as a student teacher of the year. However, they could not reach consensus, so they flipped a coin. In that case, like the Chiefs last year during the AFC Championship, I lost the coin toss. Now, I know Dr. Pickler, and I know Dr. Higgins, and certainly looking at those two, I know this time it was just in their coin flip that this time I won, because they're both tremendous assets to the state as well as their districts. Today I'd like to share two contrasting stories, one about Jeremy and the other about Bay. In the fall of 1996, Bay and his girlfriend realized that they were a little short on cash. They decided the best way to get some fast cash was to find a human ATM and beat the heck out of it until it coughed up some money. They drove around an old El Camino until they found a couple college students walking down the street. They hid behind a row of bushes, they jumped out and knocked them unconscious by hitting them in the back of the head with some metal pipes. They jumped on Jeremy, took his wallet, only to be sadly disappointed, a college student, and while holding a handgun, kicked him in the face multiple times. They left him on the cold bricks in a pool of blood. When the ambulance and law enforcement arrived, Jeremy did not remember his name, what year it was, where he had been. However, he kept repeating 3 letters, 3 numbers, 3 letters, 3 numbers, 3 letters, 3 numbers, which turned out to be the license plate tag for the old El Camino. Fast forward a few years, Bay gets out, he's a teenager at the time, and unfortunately commits another crime, goes back to jail. Fast forward a few more years, he's out, and then over winter break, news breaks that Bay was once again charged with murder, and this time killing his girlfriend in Wichita. Story 2. Jeremy grew up on the south side of the tracks in Dodge City, Kansas. And although a hard worker with leadership skills, his father struggled with a few demons, including alcoholism. He walked out of his family when Jeremy was 5 and never returned. His young mother was caring, did the very best she could to provide for both of them, while she worked as an office assistant at a local natural gas company. During the elementary years, his grandparents lived in Dodge City. His grandmother taught him the basics of cooking, and his grandfather showed him around the shop. In first grade, Jeremy struggled so much with reading that they sent him to another school site. Each day he would walk down 2 blocks to receive Chapter 1 reading services, which is now known as Title I. By second grade, it was obvious to Jeremy's teacher that he was having difficulty paying attention and math was a struggle. His mom made arrangements for him to work with a tutor on basic computation skills through a game a couple nights a week. By 5th and 6th grades, Jeremy was performing at an average level with a smattering of C's across his report card. But during those 2 years, his teachers took a special interest in him, and they accurately predicted the future occupation of Jeremy. Although home computing and electronics were just coming of age, by age 13, Jeremy was creating software, building robots, building lasers, and was even recognized by Senators Bob Dole and Senators Pat Robert for their reward as the state's national young inventor. At 15, distant cousin had talked to him about working as a night custodian at an elementary school, which he did for the next 3 years. With newfound confidence in his abilities, additional stability, and income in his home, Jeremy experienced much academic success in high school, being one of 8 out of 235 graduating seniors to be recognized with an honors diploma. Although the first of his family to go to college, he's made up for lost time by earning 4 college degrees. Jeremy has shared on more than one occasion, "My family set the path, education paved the way, but educators made sure I arrived at the destination." As I ponder the differences between Bay and Jeremy, it's hard not to go back in time and wonder what could have been for Bay. Could there have been a support program in school, a separate connection, a different connection to one of his teachers that could have changed his entire life? I'm certainly sure that there were those that tried. However, we can always do more in education. Valley Center USC 262 has focused on removing more barriers for our kids. Within our schools, we provide a washers and dryer, food pantry, backpacks, school supplies, Christmas presents for families that need help, and free clothing and shoes for all those that need them. We have doubled the number of counselors and social workers in recent years, and more than doubled the number of staff commonly known as learning support or interventionists. Likewise, we have drastically broadened the number of opportunities in both middle and high schools for areas of exploration, career pathways, and building positive connections outside of the normal school. It is our ultimate responsibility to establish equitable programs and look out for all students, particularly those that are marginalized and most at risk. The conversations to peak over the next few months will undoubtedly focus on resources for at-risk students. And without adequate attention and resources, students like Jeremy back in Dodge City will not experience success, and we will regress. We also will continue to wonder what will happen to students like Bay. And if there's no Jeremy, there's no Corey, as that was me in those stories. The greatest risk in education is that we stereotype the type of student that is at risk. There is no one-size-fits-all. My family set the path, education paved the way, and educators made sure I arrived at the destination. As a quick side note, what sophomore college doesn't need a little bit of a pipe in the back of the head based on what we all experienced probably our freshman year. But it certainly put me on a different trajectory. I wish to thank GA. I'll tell you a quick story related to how it came to be that I was announced as Superintendent of the Year. It's the first time GA ever did it this way. And so what happened, of course, Kip interviewed on Friday, and we were all three stacked on Friday. And that next Monday, I had a scheduled appointment with Dr. Bonner and our executive director to talk about a book study we were doing as an administrative cabinet. And so we went from Friday to Monday morning, no word. So my assumption was, Shelley or Chad, for sure. And so I'm sitting at breakfast, having a conversation, and Mike is trying to speed us out the door. And I had no reason why. I was like, Mike, come on, slow down, have a good conversation. And Chad texted me, Dr. Higgins, and said, we both need to congratulate Shelley. I walked into my office, prepared to get on to the next thing on our agenda, and who's staying at the door but GA? So I knew something was up that Monday. He will share with you, I was emotional. I'm trying to hold it back today, because for somebody like Corey, Jeremy, or Bay, you never know where they may end up. So as you look at your students today, please make certain that we're looking at them through a different lens, and that no, we are the group that can get them forward. So I appreciate USA, KSSA, and our sponsors for providing today's recognition, and have a great, great afternoon and weekend.
Corey, thank you for sharing some of your story. And, you know, I'm really glad you brought those pictures, because my board clerk is also my secretary, and she knew I was coming today to this, and she wanted to take a look at who it was that was getting Superintendent of the Year. And she turned to the directory and she said, is it common practice that they put in their high school senior picture for the directory? I told her it was not. But, you know, as people that follow leaders, it's really important that our leader has a vision, and followers struggle if they don't have a clear vision to follow. And as superintendents, we are very fortunate to have our leader, the education commissioner in Kansas, that has a very clear vision of where he wants to take education in Kansas. So at this time, I'd like to invite our special guest and KSSA member to the podium, Kansas Commissioner of Education, Dr. Randy Watson.
What a wonderful day. And I want to start by saying thank you for all of you that came out in honor of these three finalists. This is important. We don't do it enough. But when I saw and listened to the young people up here and saw Kenneth Harshberger kind of jamming to the tunes, I thought, we're in a good place today. We're in a good place. I just want to, you know, we know them as Chad, Corey, and Shelley. You know, we don't know them by their official titles. They're just friends. They're colleagues. They're people that roll up their sleeves every day, go to work, try to make kids better. But I just wanted to ask, how many of you have been to, not drove through, but been to Thayer, Kansas? It's pretty good. Lovely town, right, Shelley? Great little Art Deco style school, and it just the watermelon capital of the world. Probably claimed by several people to be the watermelon capital, but Thayer once claimed that. And certainly a tribute to the type of communities that we serve. It just strikes, I think, you know, as Corey talked about, from Dodge City. How's a kid from Dodge City get to Pittsburgh, you know, get off the beaten path, and it's slink into Oklahoma and have to be rescued back to Kansas, and then end up in Valley Center. We all have, you know, this tale of how we end up where we are. You know, I was getting texts, Corey, before I came up, you know, people giving suggestions. You can guess, Hein, can't use it. Mathis sent me a picture, certainly can't use that. And you know, so I think I'm on my own. But I want to say this. This has progressed. You talked about, you know, the superintendents of the year before. This has progressed. And I want to give really credit to two people, lots of people, but two people in particular, to take it where it is today. Mike Mathis, when he was president of KSSA, said, you know, we've got to do a better job of honoring ourselves. And really worked hard with Ken Ogden and Jostens and really brought some things. And then GA, you know, getting the sponsorship, live streaming, you know, everything that we have going on, really those two people really kind of set the bar. And we need to continue to make this bigger. We need to continue to bring our colleagues in for this celebration, because what Chad and Corey and Shelley will tell you, it's not about them, it's about they get the chance to represent all the rest of you in this great profession that, you know, that we call education. So Mike and GA, thank you really for your leadership in just bringing this to bear. You know, we hear every day, and I certainly, now that the legislative session has started, we're going to hear it again. What's wrong with those damn kids these days? And Corey, you selected a great representation of Valley Center to say there's nothing wrong with these kids. And as you talked about at risk, and we were listening to the kids, and I was just thinking about all the kids on the stage. The first thing that came to mind is thinking about your own kids. When the young lady is singing, is that just reminded me of my daughter, who's become a teacher, I vividly remember one of her favorite movies, you know, The Little Mermaid, and she's just coming right out of the bathtub singing, you know, what a wonderful place. And I just was thinking about at risk, and what is at risk. And Corey, you were so eloquent in talking about every one of our kids can be at risk at any given moment. It could happen today, they could lose a parent, something could happen tragic in their life, and it's our intervention in that moment that maybe steers in a different direction. And so thank you for that. It also, and I shared this with the board just yesterday, you want evidence-based best practices? 15 to 17% gain in those that go on to college and later on graduate college just from being in 2 extracurricular activities such as what you saw. So there's just so many things that matter. You know, leadership matters. It matters a lot. And your ability to share that with your colleagues, to mentor that with each other, to be able to reach out when things aren't going well, we're not good at that. We're an isolated profession. But several years ago, you know, Amazon was on the ascent from this little online bookstore becoming the retail giant that it is today. And there was a widely circulated paper about Jeff Bezos and what he looked for in leadership. And there's 3 things in that article that I thought were just so telling about the 3 finalists today. So the first thing, do you admire the person? Yes, Shelley, Corey, Chad, we do. Will this person raise the average level of effectiveness to the organization that they work for? Again, definitively, yes. And finally, among what dimension and how will this person become a superstar? We're honored to be here with you. We're honored to have your family here with us today. And we say thank you for your service, for your dedication to the kids of Kansas. I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. On behalf of the State School Board, congratulations, Corey, congratulations, Shelley, and thanks again for everyone for coming out.
Dr. Watson, I think I speak for everyone in this room. We thank you for your leadership and the vision that you have for the state of Kansas. At this time, we have one more person to recognize. It's our 2020 KSSA Distinguished Service Recipient. Each year, the Kansas School Superintendents Association recognizes the outstanding contributions of a member to the organization and to the profession. This year's recipient is completing 34 years as a Kansas superintendent. So some of you know that already takes you out of the mix, so you can rest assured. He has experience serving in rural Kansas, along with finding success in one of the larger school districts in Kansas. He brought capturing kids' hearts to his current district and has transformed the way students and staff interact. He is so successful, all 11 schools became National Showcase schools, which led to the first National Showcase District Award. They duplicated that achievement the following year to become the first back-to-back National Showcase District winners. In 2015, through his leadership, the district passed a $59 million bond issue, with almost 80% of the voters saying yes. He has been very active throughout his career with memberships in KSSA, USA Kansas, AASA, and more. He has presented at numerous regional, state, and national conferences, including the ASCD and the AASA national conferences multiple times. He is a member of the Hayesville Forward, Hayesville Chamber of Commerce, and is active in his church. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 KSSA Distinguished Award winner is Dr. John Burke, Superintendent of Hayesville, USD 261.
Wow, thank you, and what an honor. And what an honor to be with all of you. You know, one of the things that I get to do, I have a side hustle, and then I'm a half-time professor at Newman University as well. And so I've done a lot of adjunct teaching at various colleges and universities throughout the state. I haven't had the good fortune of having Corey in class, but a long time ago, Shelley was in personnel management when I was an adjunct professor for Pitt State University. And Chad, when he was going through district licensure at Mays, not at Mays, at Friends, I was one of the adjunct professors there. So I've had the honor of working with those two. Corey, I want to salute you for this particular award that you got. It's so richly deserved. I know how hard it is to rebrand a district and a community, and you're just rocking it. Thank you all.
In closing, I thank everyone for being here today, especially state board members for being here, and Commissioner, and all of our sponsors for being here. We still have buses that are traveling to the Capitol, and they're leaving from both the Conference Center and the Capitol every 15 minutes. The last shuttle leaves the Capitol at 4:30. Tonight at 6:30, we will have a watch party for the annual State of the State presentation, followed by a reception with the 2020 legislature. And also a reminder, the Council of Superintendents meeting will convene in this room tomorrow at 2 p.m. And on behalf of all the finalists, and especially Corey, thank you for letting us experience your students. It was a very rewarding time. So thank you all for being here, and make sure that you give your congratulations to the finalists. Thanks for being here.